Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Ask Me Anything for the CrossFit Linchpin private track, the closed Facebook group. It is November 18th. We do these wonderful AMAs every Thursday. Members submit questions, other members upvote them, and we answer the most popular ones live each week. And we've always got some good ones. We've got some sharp people in the community. Good questions are asked. And there's potential for some rabbit hole action today. I'll try to keep it as tight as possible, but we'll see. But I'm already starting to go down a rabbit hole before I even answer the questions. I'm gonna say something that I say over and over again. That is one of the tenets of CrossFit Linchpin. That I'm gonna die on this sword. Okay. There's a lot of noise in the space, the fitness space in general. I'm not just talking CrossFit. The fitness space in general is full of noise, and everybody's vying for attention to produce, I don't know, the next piece of flashy media, the next buzzword, the next catchphrase, the next gimmick, the next whatever, the next 13, 14, 15, 30-day challenge that somehow captures your attention for a short period of time, gets you to swipe the Visa card. There's a lot of that happening. Anywhere that there's fitness, there's a lot of that happening. There's a lot of junk out there. There's a lot of white noise. There's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of distractions. And there's a lot of sharp people working very hard to make those distractions sticky, that you almost can't avoid them, and they get you off the path of long-term health and fitness. As I've said, whether it's well received or not, what I can always promise you is I will shoot you straight and I will tell you the truth. Even if it's not the answer that you want to hear, I'll shoot you straight. And some of that is related to questions that get answered today. I'm going to shoot you straight on some of these questions. So hopefully we all benefit from it and march together to long-term health and fitness. Okay, so the first question is from Eric CM. And Eric asks, how can we make sense of our own data on Btwb to improve our fitness over time? What do you recommend to log in the workout notes section? Should it be time of day, mental state, nutrition notes, struggles on particular movements, sleep, workout goal, deviations from the plan? So, a couple questions in there. All good questions, all intertwined. But let's dive in. I wrote myself some notes so that I didn't go too far down a rabbit hole. Okay, so maybe I'm reading into your question a bit too much, but with the first one, how can we make sense of our own data on Btwb to improve our fitness over time? That's a fantastic question, right? Because we all got into this wonderful thing called CrossFit because it's measurable, observable, and repeatable. And it takes some feelings out and puts in science and data and measurement, and you know what you pulled last time on a deadlift. There's the number. You know what you ran that 5K in if you didn't blow it off. You know what you did Fran in. Those are hard data points, and then you want to check them out and analyze them, right? If you're doing nice, well-rounded programming with variance, that you should have a nice spectrum of heavy lift days, power lift days, Olympic lift days, light metcons, medium metcons, heavy metcons, long time domain, short time domain, moderate time domain, the appropriate amount of gymnastics movements, how is the strict stuff going? It's a lot of data, and almost overwhelming tsunami of data that is so much data you can almost paralyze you into, what should I be looking at? What should I be tracking? How do I know if I'm moving in the right direction? Oh my goodness, this workout got better, but this one didn't. And this one seems to be trending in the right direction, but then I got one less round of Cindy. What does that mean? Am I not fit? Oh my goodness, all the data. Let's dive into what that means. And then we'll talk about the workout notes here in a second. So, what jumped out to me when I read the question anyway, and I wrote here, that I personally, this is my opinion, as all these things are my opinion based upon the years that I've been doing this, I'll give you my honest opinion. I think too many people are staring at one tree that happens to be 6 inches in front of their face regarding data, just the workout that you did today, just what happened this week. You're staring at that one object directly in front of your face and you're 6 inches away from it. You're so close to it that you can't see anything else. And that's what people worry about. And in my opinion, more people would benefit from taking many steps back and then opening your field of vision so that it's not just one tree or one workout of the day or one lift or whatnot, but now that you can see the entire forest. That is when your data becomes meaningful. One singular data point, one singular workout, even a couple, even a week, sure, they're all meaningful to some degree, but it's when you only allow yourself to take many step backs, widen your field of vision, take in the big picture, that you see, as far as I'm concerned, what we're trying to do with long-term health and fitness, and how each one of those days, it's a page in the story, but you might have 2,000 pages in the book, so you're staring at one page. There could be a happy page or it could be a sad page, but that one page is not the whole book. It's just that one page. So what I would recommend people do, and I really would, is I see long-term health and fitness to some degree like an index fund in the stock market, okay? And so if everybody after this, you can scratch this down if you're unfamiliar with it, the Vanguard 500 index fund, very well-known index fund, go into Google, type in the symbol for that fund, which is VFINX, in, if I remember my phonetic alphabet from the military, that would be Victor, Foxtrot, India, November, X-ray. VFINX. Type that in, okay? I actually have it called up right now. I'm gonna do this in real time. One of the things that you can pull up is it's got a nice little graph as to how that fund's going, how the Vanguard 500 index fund is doing. And you can zoom in on a 5-day period. You can click a button where now it zooms out to a month. And if you zoom out and you look at a month, I would consider this like a month of workouts. The trend is generally going in the direction that you want. It's improving. But not every day was an improvement. There are highs and lows and peaks and valleys hidden in that 1 month that if you focused on any one day, like, ooh, today's a bad day, and maybe it was, that's the data. But if you're just staring at that one piece of data 6 inches in front of your face, you're not seeing the whole story. Now we zoom out to a month with this fund, for example, the index fund, or with your fitness journey. Now how does that look? A month is more telling than one day. A month is more telling than 1 week. We'll also, here on the wonderful Googles, as I look at this Vanguard 500 index fund and I look at it over 1 month, I can click on another tab for this fund that says 6 months. And when I click on 6 months, it's now even more telling and meaningful. And the trend is still going in the right direction. It is improving. It is increasing. However, now over the course of 6 months, we've got some, even though it's generally trending upwards, we've got some serious peaks and valleys, and we can see this has not been a smooth journey, even though overall we're going where we want to go. I think this is a great analogy to life and to looking at your own data. You're going to have highs and lows, peaks and valleys, and as I look at this Vanguard 500 index fund, some of these valleys, some of these tough times didn't last just a singular day. Could have been a bad week, could have been a bad month, as happens to all of us, as happens in life. But then it pulled back out, and I can play this game by looking at the data across 1 year, the data across 5 years. All of it is wonderful, and I would highly recommend, literally, go click on that fund and play with those buttons and imagine if what you were looking at was your personal data points and workouts. You would probably feel really good on the peaks and really bad on the lows, but you would be making an erroneous assumption about how your fitness is going if you put all of your eggs into the one basket that happened to be a bad day. So all of this getting back to Eric's point of how do we make sense of our data? I would say with the long-term view in mind. In general, is everything trending in the right direction? Not did the last workout go good or bad. Not the last time you did a 5x5 back squat, did you hit or match your previous PR? That's nice if you did, but it doesn't mean, even if you didn't, that you're not trending in the right direction. So again, data don't, sorry, I'm already off script here, not script, but in my notes. So don't label a workout or a training day as good if you set a PR and bad if you don't. That's not the mindset you want. That, I would say, is kind of novice level thinking, which lacks some nuance, some context, and some understanding. We've said this before at Linchpin. We've defined a good day in the gym. And a good day in the gym is the day that you go in, you warm up, you don't blow off the warm up, you feel your body out, see how you're feeling that day. You looked at the workout of the day based upon how you're feeling that day, which is how you slept, how you ate, how your stress levels are, what were the 2 or 3 previous days of training, how did that affect your body. All of those factors that are a moving target for your life. You check those out, you look at the workout of the day, and then you make a good decision. Does it make sense for me to do the workout of the day as prescribed? If so, great. Does it make sense for me to scale or modify in some sort of way? Great. You make whatever is the appropriate decision for you, not for anybody else, on that day regarding the workout. You also do that regarding your intensity as well, if you need to modulate that. You then execute the workout. You get whatever time you get. You get whatever load you lifted. As long as that's commensurate with, I think I used that word properly, with the effort level that you put in, great, super, fantastic. And then you cool down, stretch, go home, uninjured. That's a good day in the gym. Now notice that one of the defining characteristics of a good day in the gym wasn't setting a new personal best. If that's the case, most of us wouldn't have great days in the gym all the time. When you're a beginner, you would. And when you're intermediate, you would have less. And when you're advanced, you would have them infrequently. So that's a terrible way to define a good day in the gym. A good day in the gym, in my opinion, should be defined as we just said there a second ago. If you PR, fantastic. Celebrate it. That's tremendous. And it should be a great day. But it's not the defining characteristic of a good day in the gym. What we're looking for is consistent, sustained effort with smart decisions. And if you do that, good day after good day after good day yields great months and great years. And that's when you see something, unless somebody's looking at this 5 years from now and the Vanguard 500 index has tanked. But as of today, that's you accumulate all those good days, which turn into great months, into great years. That's when you get that nice upward trend of your fitness. With high days, with low days, and with everything in between, but you get that nice upward trend. That's where your data should be leading you. Okay, let's see. I put, data and times, loading, all those things that are measurable. They're wonderful. And obviously, with as much as I've done, as long as I've been around CrossFit, it would be an understatement to say that I don't comprehend their utility. I understand the utility of measurement and data. However, if that's the only thing that people is focusing on, that can be a negative. Because like I said before, effort matters. Effort matters tremendously. Enjoyment matters. Consistency matters. Community matters. And these things keep you training for years. And comparison and data is valuable, but there's also that saying that comparison is the thief of joy. And so you just need to make sure that that comparison is controlled and it doesn't spiral into someplace negative that it can with some people. And as I alluded to previously, the clock or the loading on the bar, if it's a heavy day, does not tell the whole tale, right? It's only one piece of a puzzle that has many, many pieces, and they're all valuable, important, meaningful pieces. Other pieces of the puzzle could be, and they have a huge impact on what happens: sleep, nutrition, stress, recovery, stretching, your technique, motivation, previous workouts, soreness, etc. All of those factors on any given day are probably different. So, yeah, you did Helen 3 months ago, and you're going to do Helen today. Well, your 400-meter run course is probably unchanged. Your pull-up bar is unchanged. The kettlebell is unchanged. And the rep range and the number of rounds is unchanged. Okay, so that one piece of the puzzle, Helen, remains the same. All those other pieces that I just mentioned, and there's probably another 15 that we could list, they could all be different. So now you've got 30 pieces to a puzzle, 29 are different, one is the same, Helen, and how can you predict the outcome? How did you sleep? How did you do anything? Now you could say, well, look, Helen was, if we're using the Helen example, we did Helen 3 months ago. And so it makes sense that after 3 months of training that I should expect to be 3 months fitter and have a better outcome. I would agree with you on that. Once again, we find ourselves in agreement. However, again, no two people are the same. Sorry, told you I was going to shoot you straight, whether you liked it or not. 3 months of glorious training could be outdone, at least for one day, undone with a couple terrible nights' sleep. And that terrible night's sleep might mean that you, quote unquote, miss your Helen PR by 17 seconds. The truth on that is, whoop-de-doo. But that's really hard for people to hear in the moment. They're like, oh, 3 months went by and my data told me that last time Helen was this. My data today tells me that I was 17 seconds slower. Well, slower is not a good word. That must mean after 3 months that I'm less fit. No, wrong, incorrect. That is the negative side of data, or looking at that one tree that's 6 inches in front of your face instead of taking a step back, seeing the whole forest, seeing what's going on with your life, seeing what you did the last 2 or 3 days in a row, and then seeing how Helen plays into that and seeing that upward trend, again, like that Vanguard 500 index fund. So let's see. So once again, I always like to keep the big picture in mind. I think that's critical with the data. Long-term health and fitness. We keep coming back to this on Linchpin, that we're into long-term health and fitness. Those are not just empty words. That's powerful and truthful stuff. Okay, so back to the other part of Eric's question regarding the notes section. So if anybody listening to this once I post it to YouTube is not on Btwb, whether you follow Linchpin or not, you should, because Btwb is amazing. And one of the other things you can do in there is there is a notes feature that you can type in whatever you want regarding the workout that day, and I use that all the time. And Eric, a lot of the things that you mentioned, I absolutely think are fantastic to put in the notes section. So you can put anything in there you want that you feel is worthwhile. I hope everybody uses that notes section every day. How you feel, how you slept, how you ate, your effort level that day. I mean, did you stomp the accelerator to the floor? Or would you say you were operating at a 6 out of 10? That's good to know, and it matters. And you might forget that 3 months from now when it goes out again. How did you break up the workout, the reps? What was your strategy? I don't know if there was a rower. What was your pace on the rower? Should you have gone lighter? Did you scale too much? Should you have gone heavier? Give yourself a snapshot of your mood, your life that day, maybe what you did the day before. That's all really wonderful, meaningful stuff, and it's a great way to use that note section. So, okay. That was the first question. I think it took me about 15, 17 minutes to answer it. So hopefully that answers the question. Next one. Okay. Another good one here. This is from Boz. Boz W. Let's see. All right. Self-proclaimed programming nerd here. Me. Anyway, Boz says, all right, coach, you're a programming nerd, and you like the intelligent programming behind it. Obviously, Linchpin works, but behind the scenes, kind of what makes it tick, what makes intelligent programming, and not just for a single workout, but also for long-term programming. Would you be willing to give up some insights and share a few secrets that you've picked up? This is a great question. It plays very well off of Eric's question because Boz specifically mentions not looking at any one single workout, but for long-term programming. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's exactly what we're all about. So, okay. First of all, I really don't think there's any secrets. And I think anyone who's saying that there's a secret is, again, trying to sell you something. Swipe your Visa card, I'll let you behind the curtain, see what's going on. That reeks of feces to me. There are certainly best practices, there are certainly lessons learned, there are certainly trials and tribulations that have gone on, evolution, adaptation, things optimizing, and that has taken place for sure over all the years that I've been doing this. And a lot of the stuff that goes into the programming is just subtle and nuanced lessons learned for the long time that I've been doing it. you can't buy experience, right? Like some of the stuff, if you want to get good at, you just need to do it over and over and over again. And I've said before, regardless of whether you're programming or learning to drive a car or playing the violin or trying to snatch a barbell, you can't rush expertise. You're going to be a novice for a very long time. You're going to make a ton of mistakes, and it's a frustrating, painful area to be. And then finally, after a long time, you'll be an intermediate for a really long time. And then you might get into some level of mastery of whatever you're doing, although there's plenty of things that you'll never master, right? Violin being one of them. So, there's that Malcolm Gladwell book or theory where he kind of talks about 10,000 hours, right? You got to get your 10,000 hours if you actually want to really know something like in your soul, 10,000 hours. Which that popped into my head when Baz asked this question, because I was just kind of curious. I was like, okay, I've been doing CrossFit now for 16 plus years as my full-time gig. Like, not a side hustle, not something I'm kind of passionate about. Like, from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I earn my living 100% immersed in the methodology and coaching and running an affiliate and studying athletes and analyzing the games, and like that is it. It's like, okay, 16 years, that's 832 work weeks over 16 years at 40 hours per work week. I wanted to see how I shook out at that 10,000 hours that Malcolm Gladwell talks about. That gives me 33,280 hours immersed in CrossFit. And so, yeah, at over triple the old 10,000 hour rule, I've got some lessons learned, right? I've got some lessons learned. So there's all the classic stuff that you hear about that should go into intelligent programming that's very basic and rudimentary and should be obvious, from time domains, loadings, reps, movements. Are you pulling, pressing, squatting? The many, many, many different ways that you can accomplish all of those goals, right? Are they all carefully and intelligently and deliberately laid out in some sort of beautifully choreographed symphony that kind of pushes the athlete appropriately, right? Not too much, not too little. Making tough workouts every day is easy, but it's not smart. I think that's lost on novice programmers. Anybody can make a tough workout and do a tough one the next day and do a tough one the next day. That's not what people need, and that's not sustainable. It's not healthy. It's not good. I would say it's borderline negligent, and you won't have clients in a year from now, or they'll be burnt out or injured or something like that. You talked about share a few secrets. Like I said, there's no secrets, but I can tell you what people should be focusing on if they want to program intelligently. Intensity over volume, 100%. Understanding that intensity is a relative thing, and this is why we do these AMAs and have all these Linchpin conversations. I really want everyone to understand as much as what we do and why we do it, right? There's a group of people that, there's that whole thing that you can give somebody a fish or teach them to fish. And I know there's a fair number of people that don't want to learn how to fish. They just want to be given the fish every day. The workout, the warm-up, the goal times, and all that stuff. And for those people, no worries. We present you with that fish every day. But then there's obviously a cohort of people that are interested in learning how to fish and what's going on behind that. Why did you tie that lure on, etc., etc. And that's why we do these educational pieces, so that we're all kind of in this together. So understanding and educating people about relative intensity, that's critical. That high intensity does not mean maximal intensity. That's critical. Understanding how to modulate intensity, that comes through education, but that also comes through workouts, and that comes through intelligent programming, that even if somebody didn't know how important modulating intensity was, and didn't know that you should do that, and didn't know that high intensity didn't mean maximal every day, if you were a really good programmer, you could modulate it with your programming, and then somebody following it from the other side of the world that doesn't even know of that, never even heard of modulating intensity, will be doing pretty darn well, even though they've never heard of it. And I'll kind of touch on that in a second. So, modulating intensity also, you might hear every now and then a workout comes out and somebody goes, geez, is that all we're doing today? And the answer is yes. That's all we're doing today. Again, because any knucklehead can make a tough workout every day, but that's dumb. That's not what people need. Let's look at this week, for example. So, on Monday, let's see, why is my brain escaping me? On Monday, the workout of the day was Annie. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Double unders, which I know are challenging for some folks, but let's just assume that you have them. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Double under, and a sit-up. Not a GHD sit-up, nothing crazy, just regular old sit-ups. Now, Annie's a tough workout, don't get me wrong. You're going to do 150 double unders. It's a technical movement. You're going to do 150 sit-ups. You're going to feel it in your midline. But it's a relatively short workout, depending upon how it goes for you. 7 to 12 minutes, let's say, in that time domain. There's no loading in there. It's not going to beat you up, right? So as a standalone one day, somebody might be like, what? Like, don't you know how fit I am? All you want me to do today is jump a rope and do some sit-ups for about 10 minutes? Wow. What easy programming. Somebody didn't put a lot of thought into this. Somebody might just look at that, looking at that one tree in front of them, and that's all they see. Well, now let's take a step back and open our field of vision. What happened the next day after that supposedly light day? That we didn't have a barbell in it, and what's kind of cool about Annie? You're not squatting, you're not going below parallel, you're not going overhead, you're not pulling in any particular direction, you're not pulling something off the ground, there's no loading. Well, now the next day, we had that heavy day at a high heart rate. That was a bruiser. There was 3 rounds for time, 36 burpees, 24 pull-ups, and 12 back squats at 2 1/4 or 155. Now we're pushing off the ground, jumping our feet back up to our hands. And now we are, which we didn't do the day before. And now, we got a built-in push-up right there. And now we've got high volume pull-ups and upper body pull happening there. We've got below parallel full body lift with the squat, heavy loading. Well, now maybe it makes sense as to why Monday was just Annie, right? And then what happened on the day after that, Wednesday? 30-minute AMRAP of rowing and running to kind of flush out everything that happened the day before. You want to get after it, get after it. You want to just use that as a shakeout day? Let's go ahead and shake it out, get a good stretch, take a rest day. We're going to hit it hard again on Friday. So even if somebody, we post a Modulating Intensity every Friday video in the private track Facebook group, even if somebody didn't watch that video, and let's just say they're just at home and they're going to get after it, even if you get after it on Annie on Monday, you're still ready physically and mentally for that tough workout that happened on Tuesday. And then even if you're like, you know what, I'm going to go for it again on Wednesday. I'm going to pour my heart and soul into it. Well, it's a taxing metabolic conditioning day with running and rowing, but it's not a day that's going to beat you up. Tuesday was hard enough by itself. So now even if somebody didn't have any clue about modulating intensity and all these concepts and methodology behind CrossFit, the programming guides them, whether they realize it or not. And that happens behind the scenes all the time with programming that is intelligently designed and laid out. And so that kind of, it's all intertwined there. Now there are some days that are tough days back to back, okay? And kind of violate what I just said right there. But here's what separates intelligent programming from unintelligent programming. When that happens, it's intentional, and it's for a reason, and it serves a purpose. And the programmer knew that they were doing that and knew that they wanted to expose their community to that stimulus to prepare them. That is another thing as well, because we are training for life, and those are not empty words. And life sometimes will give you one challenging day followed by another challenging day. Life has no requirement to follow a beautiful cycle of work, rest, work, rest, work, rest, even though that's a great way to train your body. And so now, the example that I use is, and you may have to use repetitive muscle groups multiple days in a row in real life. Life doesn't care. So there is benefit to exposing your athletes to that every now and then. Is that the smartest way to train every single day of your life? No, but done every now and then, Well, that's an intentional and smart thing to do. And I use the example every now and then of, a military member that they're in, Kandahar, Afghanistan. Lovely area. I've spent some time there. And they're going to, every day, they got to go out on patrol. And they're going to put 55 pounds of gear on their body. Same loading every day. No variance. And they're going to hump that rucksack up the same miserable hill using the same legs for the same time domain day after day. That soldier's not allowed to say, hey, Sarge, I got a degree in exercise science, and we really should take today off based upon the muscle groups that we used yesterday. I'm like, no, shut your mouth, do the patrol. Real life doesn't care. So there is benefit to exposing somebody to how does it feel to go and train on tired muscles that you intentionally used the day before. And I know that you're not going to PR, and I know it's not going to go great, but that does not mean there's not benefit to it. Real world benefit. And that's why we do what we do. The Open's nice. Local competitions are nice. The games are nice. We're training for the real world. When those other things come up, we do them, they're fun, whoop-de-doo. We're training for the real world. We're training for real life. We're training to give you an adaptation that is broad, general, and inclusive, so whatever crosses your path, you can do it, and in a way that keeps you happy, healthy, safe, and pain-free, so that you can train for years to come, and you have a high quality of life for decades. That's what we're doing. That's all the stuff that's wrapped up into the programming, and it takes a long time to figure all that stuff out. But other things that work well. Sorry, Boz. Get back to your question. Not for time days. I would recommend people throw those in, even though those are not really CrossFit-y, because we measure everything. Every workout's for time. I don't think that's the best course of action. We put in one a week, and I think that is so beneficial to people's physical and mental health and sustainability and happiness and compliance. So not for time is one of my lessons learned and evolutions over the years. We know that respecting the heavy days at a high heart rate are things that I've tried to hone in on Linchpin and really optimize as well. We sprint, we do intervals, I think more frequently than some other people, because intervals have so much benefit. And not just intervals like 8x200 meter dash on foot or 5x500 meter row, or death by calories on the bike, or intervals on just those engine building conditioning pieces, but we'll do mixed modality intervals of a weightlifting and gymnastics and a monostructural movement, shorter time domain, higher intensity, keep you moving, built-in rest, cycle through several times. We're big fans of those because they work as well. So I would say those are in there as well. You asked the question, so I just got random stuff that popped into my head that I would say. You asked for the secrets. Like I said, there are no secrets, but this is stuff I think is critical to building smart programming that people can do for years. Don't try to impress anybody with making hard workouts or how hard your workouts look. Impress people with the results that they deliver. Okay? Not with the flash. Less is often more. Often a reduction in a workout, not an addition, leads to a better outcome. So a lot of times when I start my programming cycle and, I create something that's 4 rounds or 5 rounds, well, over the course of the week where I'm polishing and refining that workout, by the end of the week, that 5-round workout is probably now a 4-round, or that 4 rounds a 3-round, because often a reduction, not an addition, leads to a better outcome for the athlete. And so that's something I don't think people realize initially. And then, smart workouts, don't just make hard workouts and beat people up. It's pointless. It's not necessary and it's pointless. Start with the end in mind, fitness over the course of a lifetime. Lots of people, I think, are training to be heroes now, and they lose sight of the long run. And then they're met with joint pain, injuries, surgeries, just burning out from training at that pace. Not sustainable. So train and program with the end in mind. And make workouts fun. I know that's really tough to define, what makes a fun workout, but I think it's all the things that I previously mentioned. If you're beating people up for no reason, if you're smashing them into the ground every day, that's not going to be fun for long. Give people the opportunity to express intensity. Have them feel good. Then they will enjoy training, and then they will have fun. And that goes a really long way. And I believe variance, true variance, is gold, and it's one of the critical aspects of a top-notch program. It is, if there is a secret sauce, variance might be the secret sauce. I have to think a bit more about that, but it might be. Which is why we say at Linchpin that we don't have a lifting bias, we don't have a gymnastics bias, we don't have a conditioning bias. We have a long-term health and fitness bias, and that comes through variance. And variance, intelligently planned variance, is also that wonderful secret ingredient that makes CrossFit training so mysteriously effective. How can somebody's deadlift go up when we don't deadlift twice a week? That doesn't make any sense. Well, it doesn't unless you are truly immersed in what makes good programming, how the body works, how you can create workouts, and then all of a sudden we can pull off magic like that. So variance is a huge thing. Let's see. Yeah, so that's it. If you want to know more about this, I would say you can scratch these down because we've covered similar topics before. You could watch or listen to Linchpin Conversations number 27, 125, 133, 216, and 184. So that was 27, 125, 133, 216, and 184. I hope that helps. That was another long answer. My apologies. Okay, I think we've got 2 short, fun questions, and then I'll give the shout-outs and we'll kind of wrap it up. I'll get myself some lunch. First one is from Melanie H. She says, as a former games athlete, how much input/suggestions do you get from my wife, Emily? Do you ever find yourself programming something that's not her favorite just for the possibility of beating her? Great question. So what level of input do I get from Emily? 0. Absolutely 0. And that's not because I wouldn't welcome it. That's actually her prerogative. Is she actually quite clearly understands that there can be a difference between being a great athlete and a good coach, a great athlete and a good programmer, and all of those aren't necessarily the same. Just because somebody has killer times or went to the games actually doesn't mean they know anything about programming. I know that might be shocking. And she'll be the first to admit, while she's a tremendous athlete, programming is not her cup of tea. So she does not feel like chiming in at all. And even with as much as she's worked out every now and then, there'll be some workout coming up and she'll ask me how she should modify it. I'm like, how are you asking me how you should modify it after all these years and all your athletic accomplishments? And she's like, that's just not what I do. That's what you do. So how should I modify it? I'm like, not going to argue with my wife, right? Happy wife, happy life. So that's that. And no, I don't program anything that I think would lend to my strengths to beat her. And honestly, I'm not even sure if I could, even if I swayed it that way. And then the final one is from Paul S., who says, do you have plans to visit different places in 2022? If so, would you be interested in meeting up with Linchpin members in those areas? Answer to the first question. Do I have plans to visit different places in 2022? Yes. Would I like to meet up with Linchpin people in those areas? Yes. The key part of the question, which wasn't asked, do I know where I'm going? No. However, I know that trips will pop up. There's already stuff happening for work and other various commitments. I don't know exactly where those will be, but when I do know and when it is appropriate for me to make that information public, I will wholeheartedly do that because it would be fantastic to link up with some Linchpinners. Okay, let's see. We've got 3 different things I pulled out, screenshots from the Linchpin private track here, the Facebook group. First one is from Olivia B. And I wrote this as 480 more pounds. Okay, so she repeated a workout. She says her top numbers are from May, and this is from last Monday's lifting. The bottom is from today. Overall, a 480-pound increase from when they did it last. So this is the workout that is 4 sets of 3 on the power clean, 4 sets of 2 on the front squat, and then 4 sets of 1 on a squat clean. And basically, you add together all of those lift numbers and you get the total amount of pounds that you lifted. And from when we did this workout months ago to when we did it recently, her overall increase was 480 pounds more weight moved. That is phenomenal. That is awesome. Next one is from Patrick S., not me, not Patrick Sherwood. And I entitled this one, First Run in 6 Years. I didn't read these before I opened them. I just grabbed the top 3 in my folder. So, First Run in 6 Years. And Patrick says, back in February of 2020, when my wife and I were relocated to Vancouver, Washington, with a home that has a garage gym, the first one we looked at, I turned on my Map My Run app, walked down the street, measuring off of 50, 100, 150, 200 meter turnarounds. Let's see. Then he had himself an Achilles. Little did I know that my Achilles injury that I had at the time would sideline me from running. Eventually, after a year of physical therapy, I was able to resume running. This morning was my first time in 6 years of CrossFit to ever do 800 meter repeats. It was 37 degrees outside at 6 a.m. I didn't care. How cool is that? So worked himself back after 6 years, did some 800 meter repeats. That's super cool. And the last one is from Paul S. It says, hey Linchpin community, I'm celebrating my 1 year in the program today. And what a gift. Oh, this was the same day. Had 300 meter repeats, 3 800 meter repeats as my 600 workout on this anniversary. Coach must love me. I want to say thank you to the great program, the videos, all the content we put out there for connecting us. It really resonates with me, and I've learned a lot about warming up, how to approach workouts better, and especially when to listen to my body. And as important, and most important, are the members of the CrossFit Linchpin Private Track. Especially like to thank all of you, because this past year, working out mostly on my own due to the restrictions in the world, you have made me feel like part of a tribe of like-minded people who are willing to put in some good old fitness day in and day out. Your enthusiasm is inspiring. Very cool. That's why we do what we do. I hope the answers to those questions were useful for Eric and Boz and Melanie and Paul. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your rest day. I actually didn't get to do the 30-minute AMRAP of running and rowing yesterday. The day got away from me, so that was an unexpected rest day. Life happens. So today, instead of resting, I will be doing that workout. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk later.